Hey guys, it's Heather. So I'm doing a video this year because every year in June I usually put a post about my coming out experience for two reasons. First of all, it's Pride Month, and second, it happens to be the month that I came out. When I came out, I had no idea what Pride Month was or that it was in June. It was a total coincidence. I did not come out for that reason. Someone recently said, with my background being a very conservative background, they said I was brave to come out. And I never felt that way. I never felt that way at all, because for me, coming out was a life-saving experience. I was drowning and I knew that I had to do something. I could not keep going on this way. I couldn't keep living this lie. I had tried so hard for so long, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I came out, and it wasn't a brave experience at all. It was just what I needed to do at that time. But this year, what I wanted to share was really encouraging those who are struggling. Maybe you're afraid to come out. I had a lot of fear, and I'll talk about that in a second. Or those who you've come out and you're struggling with acceptance in your community, and also to remind those that are in good communities. I'm in the East Coast now, and it's wonderful out here, and I love it. But I'm originally from the Midwest, and I know what it was like coming out there. So just to remind people that as far as we've come in the LGBT advancement, we still have so far to go. And in our own country, there's still so many people that struggle, and they don't get the acceptance that they need. And some of them are beyond bullied. They're still being sent to conversion therapy camps. They're still being kicked out of their house, and they're young teenagers, or they're being disowned by their families. There's so much that's going on, and there's still a lot of work to do. So to remind people that be grateful for what you have, absolutely be grateful for what you have, but also remember there's a lot to do, and everyone doesn't have it that easy. My fear with coming out, I was terrified. I could not begin to explain the amount of fear that I had for years. For almost 9 years, I had an idea that I might be gay, at least that I was attracted to women. I didn't want to entertain the idea that I was fully gay, and it's hard to explain that to people. People ask me all the time, how did you not know that you were gay? I didn't. I never allowed myself to think about that. And I can't explain that. It's just fear. It's what fear does. It does not allow us to be in touch with ourselves. And so because I never allowed myself to accept the fact that I was gay and accept the fact that I was attracted to women, I hid in that fear. And so I would never address that issue until finally I was almost 23 years old. It was a week before my birthday. And it just came out. I was blurted out. I watched one show. It was Glee, back when it first came out. So that's how gay I actually am. It was when Glee first came out, and I saw the show on there with Chris Colfer's character. And it was the first time I ever saw a gay person portrayed in a positive light. The first time in my life I ever heard anything positive about a gay person, and I was 23 years old. And that's all I needed. I just needed one person to say that it was okay, and then I ran with it. And there was a lot of fallout. I had to deal with a lot of things. Some of it was my fault, some of it was other people's fault, some of it is life. People believe differently, and we're working to have more progressive beliefs, but it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of patience with prejudice, and I get caught up in that too. We all do. It's frustrating to deal with prejudice, but I have to remember that I was a very prejudiced, bigoted person before I came out. I was part of a very anti-LGBTQ church. I've hated gays, hated gay people, thought that they were the reason that everything that bad happened in our country. It was the gay. 9/11, that was the gay people. Hurricane Katrina, that was because of the gay people. Literally everything bad that happened in our country was because of the gay community. That's what I believed. And even after I came out, I was very much a self-hating gay. Very much. And this is hard for me to admit, but it's important that we be honest. Even after I came out, I had a problem with the transgender community. I really did. I would say to people, well, yeah, I'm gay, but I'm not like, those transgender people. Like, that's what I did. I threw my own community under the bus because I was afraid, and I didn't want any more fallout, and I wasn't ready to address my own prejudices. And it takes a long time, so that's why it's important to talk to people. People always ask me, why do you bother with those extremists? Because I was an extremist, and I believe that extremists can be reached, but it takes patience, and it's not easy. And sometimes you just have to tell someone to go, F off, because they're not going to listen, and you're not going to get anywhere with them, but sometimes it's helpful to talk, and it's very important for people to share their stories. It's very encouraging. I read so many stories. Ellen's story, I know, is there a gay person who hasn't been inspired by Ellen? But that was huge. It's huge. It's huge to know that some celebrity came out, and it's huge to know that my next door neighbor came out. It's huge to know that a friend or a family member, people that I went to high school with, when I came out, I knew of one person who had come out, a girl who was disowned by her family, and I had never heard anything good about her, but I heard she came out, and I remember thinking, wow, that's brave, but I never thought it would be me. And then after I came out, I found out a lot of kids that I went to school with were gay. I found out a lot of things, but I had to say something. And so if you're in one of those communities and you're scared, I can't blame you for being scared, and I can't tell you what to do. All I can tell you is that if you do come out, it does get better. When I said those words, even with all the backlash that happened, I would never go back again, because the feeling that I had when I said I'm gay, it was the best feeling. I will never relive that feeling of relief again. It was the most incredible feeling in my life, and it was almost immediately met with backlash, and it was very hard, and I had to work, and my ass was kicked. I was kicked flat on my back, but I would do it again because it was worth it. It gets better. There is help. There's so many resources out there. There is help. There is hope, and you can do it. So if you're worried about coming out, or if you just came out and you're struggling in your community, reach out, because you can do it, and it gets better, and it is worth it. It is worth it to be true to yourself, whether you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, queer, or transgender. And I want to remind people to really, we've made so many advancements for the gay and lesbian community, but it's put a much bigger target on the back of transgender individuals, because now, it's not as easy to, let's just be honest, it's not as easy to bully the gays and the lesbians as it was. So now we're moving on to the next group, and the transgender community has already had so much that they've had to overcome. And now I even see some people in the gay and lesbian community that are abandoning them, and that's really sad to me. There's a quote that I found in my recovery that is, "To thine own self be true," and that is what I've tried to live by, and I would encourage everyone to. So again, wherever you are, if you're in a good community, be grateful for that community and look for ways to reach out. It's not always like that. When I was in Indiana, I had to deal with a lot of harassment. I was kicked out of a bar once for making out with a woman, even though other people were making out around us. I was excluded from places. I was called a lot of names, especially as I started to dress in a more masculine manner. I had to deal with a lot, and I've never dealt with that out here. Only occasionally do I ever hear someone say something to me. It's not like it was there, but that was almost it was a weekly basis out there. I had women show up to my work once and try to pray over me while I was at work. Women that I didn't know, but they knew that I was gay, and they came to my work to pray over me. That's the kind of thing that people are dealing with in some of these Midwestern and Southern states. And I would just want to encourage all of you and remind everyone to be grateful for what they have. Remind everyone that it does get better, and remind you especially to keep the transgender community in your thoughts and get involved where you can, and stand up. Don't be afraid to stand up and fight for the rights of other people, not just yourself. And say thank you to all of our straight allies. Thank you to all of our allies, no matter who you are. Thank you so much for those who have fought before us and those who continue to fight. And I just want to wish everyone a very, very happy Pride.